Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw tips and tricks. And somebody sent me this file and asked for my opinion, and he completely redrew the church. And it was a lot of work, I can imagine, and it looks fantastic. I love it. He just asked my opinion on the trees and the shrubs, so I'm going to try to do my best to try to help him. I'm going to go to object and order and put it to the back of the page. And it's pretty good because there's a lot of transparency. I don't know about the white around the windows. You might want to look at that. It might possibly work since there's so much transparency that's not going to, gray. It's the wood. I don't really know what to tell you. A couple of tricks on putting this tree in. Let's just look at this tree. And when you move this tree, you can see there's a problem with it. It looks like you've erased it. So let's go up to object. Let's go to bitmap, convert it to a bitmap, convert it black and white because it's already black and white. We'll go ahead and resize it, or resample it. It's $300 per inch, so it's fine. Let's go ahead and trace it. Outline, trace, clip art. And that way you can get rid of that. Now there's some funky lines in there, but shouldn't really cause a problem. So now we'll take the yellow box trick. He's got his set on filling in with black. And we've got a few white spots, but in this instance, it probably doesn't matter, but let's go ahead and get rid of them. I'm just gonna go to object and group and ungroup, and then just grab the black. I see those design lines I don't like, but see all the trash and white that it left. So let's just get rid of those. One thing we might be able to do to fix this is left click, right click. And there are some drawing lines in there, but as long as it engraves, well, there's the lines, which it didn't have before. So leave it just like that. I would actually maybe test that on a piece of wood. So I'm going to maybe do the back tree. And what I would do for this thing is I would draw a rectangle. Let's see how big this thing is. It's only less than 4 inches, so let's set our nudge factor for 5. And let's draw a rectangle and get it. That really bugs me. I'm going to fix that right now in case you don't know. While you don't have anything selected, double click on that. Go up here and put no fill, okay, and then it's going to ask you for graphic. Then when you draw, and you might want it that way, it would bug me to no end. So now we have a fill, and I'm going to nudge this out of the way over here. And I'm going to take my tree, and I am going to fill this in just with yellow for right now. And I'm going to put my tree behind there. And you see my tree is behind there, so I'm going to go right here. I'm just going to try a couple things. I'm going to try trimming it. And we got half the tree. So now we can nudge it back, and you've got a tree above the church. And if you hold down the control button, you can put that tree wherever you want, closer to the property. There's a bush in the front. I think about using the same one and just well, let's back up here. And this is just my suggestion. I'm going to make a duplicate of this, control, or just hit the plus key on the keyboard. So let's go ahead and do this and trim it. And then nudge that back over. Then take this tree, and we know it's a good tree. Go up to object, order, back a page, and we know it's a good tree. And you could use various parts of it. Let's just get rid of the yellow. You could even squish it, make it look like a totally different tree, make it quite a bit smaller, kind of make it look like that bush. And this is where you're going to have to figure out, if you search on the internet, you could find a better bush, and then you just need to find out, really where it starts. It probably starts on the ground somewhere. But then he's got a bunch of bushes here that he's got. And I would do kind of the same thing. Just let's let's take this thing and it's less than 1/4 of an inch. Let's make it like 0.3. Yeah, 0.3. Control D and duplicate it and move it over. This file has a lot of things going on in it. Well, I must hit 3 inches. 0.3. Control D and nudge it over. And then you could do a lot with it. You could mirror it, you know, side by side so they don't look the same. You know, you could change it up a little bit, squash it down a little bit. You know, you could take the shape tool and, you know, make some other, take your time and make some other assets to this thing and make it look differently. And then you could actually Control D and make a duplicate and nudge it over twice. Maybe mirror that back. Of course, you wouldn't want the same ones next to each other. You know, maybe make them a little bit different heights because we're going to cut them off anyway. So let's, we're going to put them right in here. So we want the top. So we're going to go like right there and then nudge that over. And fill that in with yellow. Take our trees and maybe reduce them in size quite a bit. Well, you know what? Looking at the picture, yeah, they're on the, there's nothing on the ground showing. So we're going to do basically the same thing, trim it. We might have had to group them together. Let's back up here. Let's group our trees together. Go to Object, Group, and then grab it all and trim it. And then nudge that over. Of course, you can always nudge them down. And, you know, then you got to really think about, well, that looks pretty good, that placement. Actually, it's hard to tell. And I don't know how big he's going to make it. I wouldn't worry about putting the limbs in the other trees. I think it's going to take away. You know, you could play around with the, you know, you could practice with this and see what it looks like. You could actually put, well, let's see how much of a background this thing has on the words themselves. See, there's a lot of transparency there. He fuzzied it up on purpose. I'm kind of, that's a pretty good idea. But you could make a light gray background around the letters and see what it looks like then. I'm going to have trouble grabbing my yellow box now. See if we can't. Nope. You know what you can always do is take that layer that you're grabbing and go to lock and, can't lock it. So another way you can do it is set your nudge factor back on like 2 inches, nudge this out of the way, then grab your yellow box and delete it, and then nudge it back those 2 inches. Other than that, I think it looks good. I don't really have a suggestion. You did a great job of tracing it or by hand. I think it's going to look good. Hope that helped. Thank you for watching.